Emily Hayes had always been the kind of person who poured her heart into everything, her friendships, her work, and especially her relationships. Growing up in a small town in Oregon, she learned early on that kindness and effort went hand in hand. If you loved someone, you showed it. If you valued them, you made them feel it. That's what her parents had modeled for her during their 30-year marriage. When she met Derek Lawson at a friend's summer barbecue in Seattle, she thought she had found a man who shared those same values. He was charming without being overbearing, had a way of making her laugh so hard she forgot about the world, and in those first months, it felt like they were on the same wavelength about everything. Derek wasn't just attentive, he was present. He'd text her good morning every day without fail, remember her favorite order at the little Italian cafe near her apartment, and surprise her with small acts of thoughtfulness, like leaving a sticky note on her laptop that read, "Thinking of you today." But somewhere around their 2-year mark, the energy began to fade. At first, Emily told herself it was normal. No relationship stays in the honeymoon phase forever. People get busy. Life happens. Still, there were moments she couldn't ignore. Times when Derek seemed distracted during their conversations, when his phone became more interesting than the story she was telling, when "we should hang out this weekend" became an empty phrase instead of a promise. It wasn't one big fight that shifted things. It was a collection of small, silent moments where Emily felt herself becoming invisible. A Friday night date would get pushed aside because Derek needed a night with the guys. A text she sent in the morning might go unanswered until late at night, with nothing but a casual, "Sorry, been busy." When they were together, she noticed he wasn't really with her, not in the way he used to be. The breaking point came on a Saturday evening in late October. Emily had spent the day cleaning her apartment, picking out a new dress, and curling her hair for a dinner Derek had promised earlier in the week. She had been looking forward to it, thinking maybe they could reconnect. But just as she was putting on her earrings, her phone buzzed. "Can't make it tonight. Going out with the guys." That was it. No, I'm sorry. No offer to reschedule. Not even a hint that he understood she had been planning for this. Emily stared at the message for a long moment, her chest tightening. It wasn't that she minded him spending time with his friends. She wanted him to have his own life. But this was yet another time she had been made an afterthought. She ended up ordering Chinese takeout and sitting on her couch, the TV playing a show she wasn't really watching. Outside her window, the Seattle skyline glowed in the distance, but inside, Emily felt small. She thought about the girl she used to be, the one who was full of life and dreams, the one Derek had once worked so hard to win over. When had she become someone who accepted crumbs of attention and called it love? The next day, she met her best friend Rachel Turner for brunch at their favorite cafe. Rachel had been Emily's rock since their college days. She was the kind of friend who told the truth, even when it wasn't what you wanted to hear. As Emily recounted the events of the night before, Rachel listened carefully, sipping her coffee. Rachel said finally, "You teach people how to treat you. If you keep letting him treat you like an afterthought, that's exactly what you'll be to him." The words hit Emily like a quiet thunderclap. She'd heard variations of that phrase before, but this time, it sank in. She realized she had been making excuses for Derek, convincing herself that his lack of effort didn't mean anything. But it did. That afternoon, Emily made a decision. She wasn't going to chase Derek's attention anymore. She wouldn't send just checking in texts or bend her schedule to fit into the shrinking gaps he left open for her. She was going to pull back, not to play games, but to protect her self-respect. The first week was harder than she expected. She had gotten so used to being the one to initiate plans, the one to reach out first. She found herself picking up her phone to text him, then setting it back down. Instead of filling that space with worry, she filled it with herself. She started running along the waterfront again, something she'd stopped doing months ago. She cooked new recipes, tried painting for the first time in years, and spent evenings catching up with old friends over coffee. She even booked a weekend trip to Portland with Rachel, something she had always said she would do someday. At first, Derek didn't seem to notice the change. He continued with his sporadic texts, the late-night "you up?" messages that Emily now ignored. But as the days turned into weeks, his tone began to shift. He started calling more often, asking when they could see each other. One Friday evening, he showed up at her apartment unannounced, holding takeout from her favorite Thai restaurant. "I've missed you," he said, looking around her living room as if it had changed since he'd last been there. Emily listened, but she noticed something different this time. She wasn't hanging on to every word. She wasn't desperate for his approval or reassurance. She realized that while Derek's absence had once felt like a hole in her life, she had been filling that space with her own happiness. Over the next few weeks, Derek made more of an effort. He planned actual dates again, remembered small details about her day, and seemed genuinely interested in being present. But Emily also knew she had a choice to make, not about Derek, but about herself. She understood now that when someone stops valuing you, the most powerful thing you can do isn't to fight harder for their attention, it's to redirect your energy back to yourself. Because when you treat yourself like you matter, you stop tolerating anyone who acts like you don't. And in that quiet shift, Emily found something she hadn't expected: peace. Whether Derek stepped up or stepped out no longer defined her worth. She was defining it for herself. It was a lesson she knew she'd carry for the rest of her life. When someone doesn't value you anymore, the best thing you can do is step back, hold your head high, and start valuing yourself again.